I appreciate Jenny working outside of the home for a little while I'm able to go back to school and get a higher education to be able to provide for our family a little bit better later on down the road. And then I really appreciate her love for being a mother and her desire to make this place and our marriage a happy home.
I'm Jim, and together with my wife Jennifer, we'll host this program that explores the Beatitudes as a path to holiness in Christian marriage.
There is a popular saying, home is where the heart is. For married couples, their marriage is their home because that is where their heart is.
Marriage is the place where we feel accepted, cared for, and understood. Christian Morgenstern wrote, "Home is not where you live, but where they understand you." How true for marriage.
How does your spouse show that he or she understands you?
I know that he understands me when he restates maybe what I've said or acknowledges what I have said.
When he's looking at me and I know he's listening and I know that he's there, that he's engaged with what I've got to say. Because if he's doing something else and I'm talking, sometimes I'll throw something outrageous out there and he doesn't respond. I know he's not listening. There's a look that's what are you talking about or saying?
She can kind of tell when I'm down or overwhelmed, and then she'll come in and say, hey, look, is there something I can do for you? Can I help you?
Just this past week, I've had a very rough week. Conflict with a coworker, long working hours. Jarrett picked me up last night and had a bouquet of flowers and took me to dinner.
Jenny letting me unwind in my lazy boy and sitting there to watch football or golf.
He understands me because he knows that I need time outside the home also.
She makes our house a home, and it's fantastic.
She makes me feel like there is no other place in this world that I would rather be but in my marriage and in my home.
In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus proclaims, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy." Mercy, which is compassion, begins with understanding each other's needs.
Dr. Willard Harley Jr. writes that we all have emotional needs that we want satisfied by our spouse, such as affection, companionship, honesty, sexual fulfillment, and others. Understanding and helping each other meet these needs is an act of love, an expression of mercy.
Can you name one or two emotional needs of your spouse?
She needs affirmation and affection.
Mary just has really one need, and that's just to hear me say I love you.
And he needs space. So when he first walks in the house, he goes and he has his own half hour on the computer looking at the mail, but he needs some sense of space.
He hates to be alone, so companionship.
That Jarrett wants companionship. He does have a lot of passions in life: football, beer brewing, beer drinking, music, and he just wants someone to be there with him while he's enjoying it.
I think Bill likes to be affirmed.
Affirmation, admiration, and sexual fulfillment.
Biggest two emotional needs are sexual fulfillment and affection.
He has a need for sexual fulfillment, like most men, I guess, but he has a strong need for that.
For me to really be empathetic towards her and to be patient with her.
Mm-hmm. I know every woman in this world needs to be wants to be admired.
Encouragement and support.
She still needs affirmation that she's doing the right thing.
We're just a couple needy folks.
And I also like it when you rub my neck.
Yeah, that all the time. He's like a cat.
Marriage is designed to help spouses fill each other's emotional needs.
Dr. Gary Chapman writes that within each one of us there is an emotional love tank that needs to be filled. Keeping your spouse's emotional love tank full is as important as keeping the tank of your car full.
According to Chapman, a spouse's emotional tank is filled when we do the things that our spouse truly appreciates.
What does your spouse do for you that you appreciate?
Mike is the most incredible handyman I've ever met.
He's very good with the girls.
He goes and gets me chocolates, whether I realize it or not.
The good meals.
I really appreciate Caleb's sacrifice of going to school while working to provide for our family.
Mark's a great listener, even when he doesn't feel like it.
Well, the fact that she's always after my health.
I greatly appreciate the fact that she's happy staying home and taking care of the kids and taking care of the house.
Besides Ted being such a caring, loving husband, he, right now with the pregnancy, he has been helping a lot around the house.
She cleans, she cooks, she washes.
And I'm still trying to think what I appreciate. I still can't come up
The
with
fact
it.
that I helped make the decision on which blue shirt you were going to wear
That's
today.
true. Wardrobe.
I'm his stylist.
Benedict XVI ties the message of this beatitude to the parable of the Good Samaritan. Jesus praised the Samaritan because he allowed himself to be touched by the need of the person who had been robbed and beaten. He had compassion, writes the Pope.
We are all in need of compassion, and as spouses, we are called to be good Samaritans to each other.
A wife can be a good Samaritan to her husband who feels stressed and upset when she respects his space with silence instead of peppering him with questions.
A husband can be a good Samaritan to his wife who feels anxious or insecure when he's present to her pain and listens instead of suggesting what she should do to fix the problem.
What counts is not doing for my spouse what feels good for me, but doing what helps my spouse feel better and heal. This is an act of compassion.
Do you remember a time when your spouse comforted you?
The extra hug when my mother died, the extra sense of support and knowledge that I would find another job as a victim of the recent economic downturn.
Situations where I lost my job, maybe feeling a failure, you know, because of being let go, whatever the case may be. She was there to comfort me, to say, you're not, you know.
And just lets me cry. It's the same thing, you know, I have a shoulder to cry on when I'm hurting.
When my dad died, I was severely depressed. There was one particular time when I just couldn't hold that in anymore, and I just fell apart. And I remember Mary just sitting there, just holding me while I sobbed.
You're struggling, and she'll say, you know, you really did a nice job. You know, these people should appreciate what you're doing, you know. And to me, that's the biggest thing that she does.
Jenny oftentimes will come up and scratch my back or kind of rub me on the top of the head and just embrace me.
He always embraces me and tells me whatever I'm going through, everything is going to be all right.
She came and held me and told me, like this last time when I was in pain with my kidney transplant, that things were going to be okay.
And during my times of physical pain or emotional pain, he has prayed for me. And I think prayer is the greatest gift you can give anyone.
We learn from our Catholic tradition that we grow in holiness when we're open to receive God's forgiveness and mercy, and when we show mercy to others.
When you show compassion towards your spouse, your marriage becomes a comfortable home, the place where you and your children taste the goodness of God's mercy. Then the warmth of your love for one another radiates, and everyone around you is touched by God's mercy and compassion.
Now we invite you to spend some time alone with your spouse.
Ask yourself, is our marriage my home? Is it the place that is more comfortable than anywhere else?